Good evening and welcome to your Thursday, September 25, 2025 edition of the Evening News. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. 2 dead, 1 critical in 2 vehicle smash-up at Loo Creek. Parliament to be reconvened soon as list of 65 new MPs submitted, says CLERK. Consultants must be held accountable for substandard works, says Auditor General. Border controversy, we will not cower to coercion, intimidation, or unilateral action, President Ali tells UNGA. Final load testing completed on Demerara River Bridge, and assistant accountant charged with $5 million theft at GECOM. Now for the news in detail. Let's begin this evening's newscast by reporting that a 2-vehicle collision at Loo Creek, Linden-Soustdike Highway in the wee hours of Thursday has left 2 persons dead and another battling for his life. Dead are Da Tai Lee, a 54-year-old Chinese national, and 87-year-old Edward Singh, both of Letem, Region 9. The accident involved a motor lorry bearing registration number GAH 5391 driven by a 31-year-old from Rheinfeld, Georgetown, and a pickup PAE 6499, which was at the time being driven by Da Tai Lee. Wen Wu Lee, a 41-year-old Chinese national, and Edward Singh were reportedly occupants of the pickup. Police stated that the lorry developed mechanical problems and was left unattended along the Linden-Soustdike Highway in the vicinity of Loo Creek without any reflectors or any other warning appliances placed to the front, rear, or side to alert other road users. However, the pickup, which was proceeding along the roadway allegedly at a fast rate, reportedly collided with the rear of the lorry, during which the driver and the occupants sustained injuries. Da Tai Lee and Singh reportedly died on the spot, while Wen Wu Lee was taken to a city hospital where he remains in critical condition. The driver of the lorry was taken into custody. We are now joined by Vanu Manikchand, who reports that the Clerk of the National Assembly, Sherlock Isaacs, has disclosed that he is in receipt of the list of 65 new parliamentarians who will be sitting in the House and is now awaiting President Dr. Irfan Ali to set a date to reconvene the 13th Parliament.
Only yesterday I received the letter from the Chief Elections Officer declaring 65 persons to be members of the National Assembly, I think with effect from the 22nd of September. I'm now awaiting the proclamation of His Excellency the President appointing a time, date and place for the first sitting of the National Assembly.
That was Clerk of the National Assembly Sherlock Isaacs updating reporters on Thursday on the convening of the 13th Parliament, when new members would take their oath and a new Speaker of the National Assembly would be elected. In the new Parliament, the ruling People's Progressive Party civic government has secured the majority with 36 seats. The We Invest in Nationhood, a new political party founded by U.S.-sanctioned businessman Azruddin Mohammed, will take up 16 seats and serve as the main parliamentary opposition after demoting the PNC-led A Partnership for National Unity to the minority opposition with only 12 seats. While Mohammed has indicated his intention to take up the role as leader of the opposition, Isaacs explained that there is a process for this to be done.
The second sitting of the National Assembly, I would convene a meeting chaired by the Speaker of all opposition members only, and he would ask to nominate a person or persons to be the leader of the opposition. If there is more than one person, we have the vote again. But only opposition members would be invited to that meeting.
Azruddin Mohammed, along with his father and several of their companies, are facing sanctions from the United States government for tax evasion. As a result of the sanctions, state agencies as well as commercial banks in Guyana have cut ties with the Mohammeds. In fact, 3 local banks have also closed the accounts of several members of the Win Party. But with 16 of them poised to take up seats in the National Assembly, the clerk explained they can be paid in cash.
We pay by bank and we can pay by cash.
what would be the option to that person who is seemingly...
The person will be asked to submit his or her bank account to me. If I'm told that the person or persons don't have bank accounts, I'll then pay them in cash.
In addition to Win and APNU, the parliamentary opposition will also feature Amanza Walton Desir taking up a single seat which her party, Forward Guyana Movement, secured. Meanwhile, APNU executive Ganesh Mahipal, who will be returning to Parliament, was asked whether his party would be joining forces with Win in the opposition, and had this to say.
I think it's too early. I think it's too early to make a pronouncement on any degree of collaboration, cooperation, or however you want to term it. I think we have to first get past the hurdle of being sworn in as members of parliament. As you heard, the clerk indicated that we are members of parliament by virtue of our names being gazetted. But we have to be sworn in. There are several other factors that have to be considered. So I don't want to be preemptive nor premature in answering a question like that.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manik-Chand.
Once again, here is Vanu Manik-Chand, this time to report that Auditor General Deodat Sharma is calling for penalties to be introduced so that consultants can be held accountable for the standard of work produced, especially in construction projects executed in the public sector.
Nearly all construction projects in the public sector have consultants on board to oversee the quality of work and ensure compliance with the terms of the contract. Despite this, however, there are still substandard work found in some public projects, especially road construction, something which Auditor General Deodat Sharma says could be addressed if the consultants are held accountable along with the contractors.
I think in the Consultant Act, there's not a penalty. And that is our problem. So you need to hold those consultants responsible.
AG Sharma made these remarks after handing over the Auditor General's report for the 2024 fiscal year to the Speaker of the National Assembly on Thursday. Though he did not go into details of the report, which will be made public after being tabled in the National Assembly, the Auditor General noted that while there have been some improvements in the handling of public accounts, more still needs to be done to ensure that proper records are being kept of state spendings and that the taxpayers' dollars are spent wisely.
The number of recommendations has been reduced tremendously. There have been improvement in terms of logbooks. Almost all ministries have been presented their logbooks. There have been improvement in terms of fuel management. There have been improvement in terms of, as I mentioned earlier, the contractors do not dispute the audit office in terms of our findings. We have been finding through the engineering department overpayments. They are still there. And that's an area we'll have to try to improve in terms of, I prefer prevention is better than cure. So we are actually not doing post-mortem audit anymore. We are actually doing real-time audit in some of these projects.
Moreover, the Auditor General is also looking to strengthen his legal team so that his office could ensure that public officers who are negligent can also be held accountable.
I think with the new Finance Secretary, he has been working closely with all these accounting officers. In fact, he's not only doing that. He has issued circulars where they are going to be surcharged or penalized. And under the FMA Act, they have a penalty clause there that it could be imprisoned for 3 years and $2 million fine. Under my act, you could be imprisoned for 5 years if I found you guilty in these areas. I think that is an area that I am looking for a legal person to work along with me so that when we send these cases to the legal department, we should be able to surcharge some of these officers who are negligent.
Meanwhile, Speaker of the House Mansour Nadir lauded the work done by the Auditor General's office to ensure transparency and accountability in public spendings. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manik-Chand.
Let's now tell you that final phase of the load testing exercise was conducted on Thursday on the high span of the Demerara River Bridge ahead of its highly anticipated opening later this month. The first was conducted about 2 weeks ago on the bridge western approach using heavyweight trucks to assess structural integrity. On Thursday, 20 trucks loaded with 40 tons of white sand were used and tested in accordance with the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials Code. The load testing exercises involved trucks at various points on the bridge to stimulate maximum load pressure. The exercise is one of several critical assessments to certify the structure's strength and durability ahead of opening. The new 4-lane, 2.6-kilometer bridge stretches from Nandi Park on the east bank of Demerara to Lagrange on the west bank of Demerara. With a fixed high span of 50 meters, it will allow Handy-Max vessels to pass unobstructed beneath. The bridge is designed with a lifespan of 100 years and will operate toll-free 24/7 with a maximum speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour. President Dr. Irfan Ali on Wednesday told the United Nations General Assembly that Guyana will not buckle to any coercion or intimidation in the face of persistent aggression from its Spanish-speaking neighbor, Venezuela. Trishul Sobers has the details in this report.
Guyana is a small and peaceful state. We have endured repeated threats and aggression from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. For us, the principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and non-interference are non-negotiable. We will not cower to coercion, intimidation, or unilateral action. We thank our international partners and allies for their solidarity.
Guyana has filed a case in the International Court of Justice ICJ seeking a final and binding settlement of the 1899 arbitral award that demarcates the boundaries with Venezuela. But despite the matter pending before the World Court, Venezuela continues with its aggressive tactic towards Guyana as Caracas pushes its spurious claims of more than 2/3 of Guyana's landmass. President Ali on Wednesday stated that even after the ICJ has reaffirmed its jurisdiction to hear the border controversy case twice already and had also issued provisional measures back in 2023, ordering Venezuela to refrain from altering the status quo.
The territorial controversy between our states is now before the International Court of Justice, which has twice reaffirmed its jurisdiction and which in 2023 issued provisional measures ordering Venezuela to refrain from altering the status quo. Yet, Venezuela persists with unilateral laws and threats of annexation, flagrantly violating international law, the UN Charter, and the very principles that sustain global order. If the rights of a small state can be trampled upon and legally binding orders ignored, what protection remains for any nation under international law? Yet, Guyana continues to repose confidence in international law.
The Guyanese leader expressed gratitude to all of Guyana's international partners and allies for their solidarity. Guyana has been supported by many countries and organizations around the world, including the 56-member Commonwealth and the Organization of American States, OAS, in support of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. In addition to claiming more than 2/3 of Guyana's landmass, the resource-rich Essequibo region, Venezuela is also laying claims to a portion of its exclusive economic zone, EEZ, where over 11 billion barrels of oil equivalent have been found and production as well as other exploration activities are currently being undertaken offshore Guyana. After years of failed good offices, processes through the United Nations, and based on the recommendations of the then UN Secretary General, Guyana approached the ICJ in March 2018, seeking a final and binding settlement of the 1899 arbitral award that determined the boundary between the two South American neighbors. Guyana has already filed 2 written pleadings on the merits of the case, and Venezuela has filed 2. The last hearing being in August 2025. Oral hearings are expected to start in the first half of 2026, following which the court will deliberate on the case and issue its final judgment on the merits, which will be binding on both parties. Guyana has pledged to accept the World Court's judgment, whatever it might be. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
Coming up, assistant accountant charged with $5 million theft at GECOM and 13-year-old boy with Guyanese parentage shot dead in Queens, New York. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Seeing her succeed makes me proud, and I know I made the right choice by giving her Enfagrow since she was little. Knowing that 85% of brain growth will occur by age 3, Enfagrow's blend of ingredients such as DHA helps support your toddler's brain development and contains 22 nutrients to support their diet or nutrition. Enfagrow, what you do today will last forever. This product is not intended to be a substitute or...
Granny! What are you doing on the right of way? Like you're saying let the sunshine stretch your legs. Sunshine? Look, forget I ask. You know you're not supposed to be on the right of way, Granny. But I am digging, building, burning or planting. No horsing wrong, no horse riding or nothing for doing horses. But sunshine? What? You and sunshine get out the right of way. Sunshine, let me glad. Good.
Mom, did you tell him that Danny went to pick up KFC?
No, wait a minute. Are we really not going to tell him we already have KFC?
A tasty dinner shouldn't be that complicated. Crunch the routine and order a delicious KFC bucket for the best price. KFC, it's
Seeing her succeed makes me proud, and I know I made the right choice by giving her Enfagrow since she was little. Knowing that 85% of brain growth will occur by age 3, Enfagrow's blend of ingredients such as DHA helps support your toddler's brain development and contains 22 nutrients to support their diet or nutrition. Enfagrow, what you do today will last forever. This product is not intended to be a substitute.
Gold mining can be expensive if you don't have the right tools. Mining requires engines that can pump high volumes of water and slurry, the most tried and tested of which are Doots engines. Doots engines are among the most reliable in the world. Where can you get them? At your #1 industrial solutions provider, Sylvies. We have them in 2 to 6 cylinders, ranging from 23 horsepower to 80 horsepower. Most miners use Doots engines because they're lightweight, use less fuel, and require less maintenance because they are air-cooled. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High and Hatfield Streets Georgetown location, we can deliver. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvies Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Seeing her succeed makes me proud, and I know I made the right choice by giving her Enfagrow since she was little. Knowing that 85% of brain growth will occur by age 3, Enfogro's blend of ingredients such as DHA helps support your toddler's brain development and contains 22 nutrients to support their diet or nutrition. Enfogro, what you do today will last forever. This product is not intended to be a substitute or
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Days after reports surface of a 5 million theft at the Guyana Elections Commission GECOM, the Guyana Police Force has instituted charges against 30-year-old Dikimbi Gittins, an assistant accountant of undernaming Parfait Harmony, West Bank, Demerara. The money reportedly went missing between September 15 and 16, 2025 from GECOM's secretariat at Barak and 4th Streets, Kingston, Georgetown. However, after the police were called in, Gittins was arrested on Monday, September 22, and made his appearance before Magistrate Fabio Azor at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Thursday, where a larceny by clerk or servant charge was read to him. He was not required to plead to the charge and was remanded to prison until October 15, 2025. The Office of the Auditor General is currently building capacity in a number of new areas, including the oil and gas sector, to adequately scrutinize the burgeoning industry. Details in this Vanu Manikchan report.
The Auditor General's Office, which is responsible for conducting annual audits of public accounts, financial transactions, or operations and financial statements, is enhancing its capacity to monitor emerging sectors like the oil and gas. Auditor General Deodat Sharma on Thursday disclosed that several officers have been undergoing various training programs around the world to strengthen their competence in the oil and gas sector. But according to Sharma, there is a need to increase the complement of oil experts in his office.
I'm now building the oil and gas sector section. That's an area that I sent the Public Accounts Committee, and I will send back to the Public Accounts Committee to increase the numbers there. That's a new area that we are looking at. We only have about 3 or 4 staff presently. As I said, I have to get this approved by the Public Accounts Committee. I think the last Public Accounts Committee understand that what I need now, although it was rejected. It was about 8 or 9 members that I wanted into that section. So that will go to the new Public Accounts Committee.
Currently, the Guyana government is outsourcing experts, both local and overseas, to audit the expenses of ExxonMobil, the United States-based company that is conducting oil production operations offshore. These hired firms were expected to conduct training with the local audit office, but according to AG Sharma, this is yet to be done.
The 3 audit that was presently done, it was conceptualized that eventually the audit office should be able to take it over. Unfortunately, I have not seen any of those reports to date, so I'm still awaiting the final report, and the Guyana Revenue Authority, they are actually doing some aspect of it, which I audit. But in terms of the actual report, and we are supposed to be trained so that we could go out there eventually and do some part of the actual audit.
Moreover, the Auditor General Office is also expanding into the technology field, building capacity in artificial intelligence and cybercrime.
As you're aware, we have cybercrime. And additional to the OAG has been partnering, in fact, with the National Data Management Unit to ensure all relevant security and data management protocols are being utilized by the officers of the agency in an effort to prevent cybercrime and to ensure sensitive data is protected. To this end, 30 officers were trained in safeguarding data and security protocols, which must be observed at all times. 21 officers were trained in the use of data analytics in conducting audits and strengthening the impact of audit report with the use of artificial intelligence.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Here now is Trishel Sobers, who reports that President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali on Wednesday during his address to the United Nations General Assembly related that Guyana is leading the CARICOM Community's Vision 2030 Agri-Food Systems Agenda with the aim of boosting food production, ending hunger, and ensuring food security across the Caribbean.
The Food Security Initiative is a long-term social and economic partnership between CARICOM member states, the regional private sector, regional organizations, producer groups, development partners, and civil society. It outlines actions and critical areas of intervention to tackle the rising food import bill and reduce food insecurity, improve intra-regional trade, and create wealth and economic opportunity for every CARICOM member state. In his address to the United Nations General Assembly, President Dr. Irfan Ali urged global leaders to accelerate the transformation of global food systems to make them more resilient, sustainable, and equitable, particularly by strengthening local production and reducing reliance on the volatile external markets.
Guyana is actively leading efforts to advance the CARICOM Agri-Food Systems Agenda through Vision 2030. Aiming to boost food production, end hunger, and ensure food security across the Caribbean region. Our experience demonstrates that strategic investment and political will can transform national and regional food systems. Guyana calls for the transformation of global food systems to be more resilient, sustainable, and equitable by strengthening local production and reducing dependence on volatile markets.
As the UN marks its 80th anniversary, the Guyanese leader reminded delegates of the organization's founding purpose. He also emphasized that for the UN to remain effective in addressing modern challenges, bold institutional reforms are necessary to strengthen its ability to act decisively on the world's most pressing issues.
Guyana stands ready to share its experience and partner with others to ensure nutritious food for all. As the United Nations commemorates its 80th anniversary, let us recall that this organization was conceived not in comfort, but in crisis, forged from the ashes of war to serve as the conscience and compass of humanity. 8 decades later, that duty has not dimmed, it has only grown more urgent. If the UN is to remain humanity's best hope, it must stand firm against aggression and remain fully engaged with the great question of our time. We must be bold in recognizing the necessity for institutional adjustments that will advance the organization's success.
Further, he has called on the international community to deliver predictable and accessible climate finance to support adaptation, resilience, and nature-based solutions, warning that the slow pace of progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, threaten the 2030 promise. In his address to the UN General Assembly, the President pointed to the inaugural Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit hosted in Georgetown in July 2025. He stressed that Guyana is demonstrating the balance between economic growth and environmental stewardship by transitioning from heavy fuel oil through natural gas while investing in hydropower, solar, wind, and other renewables.
Guyana calls for renewed global commitment to financing for development, including fulfilling official development assistance pledges, mobilizing domestic resources, and addressing the crippling debt burdens that hinder progress in many developing nations. Addressing these development challenges requires recognizing that the health of our ecosystems is inseparable from achieving the SDGs. Guyana proudly convened the inaugural Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit in Georgetown in July 2025, uniting over 140 countries, organizations, community groups, indigenous leaders, scientists, and financial institutions.
Trishel Sobers, Evening News.
Still on the United Nations General Assembly, Davina Samaru reports that President Irfan Ali has urged the international community to extend meaningful support to Cuba and Haiti, highlighting the urgent humanitarian and economic challenges facing both nations.
In his address to the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly on Wednesday, President Dr. Irfan Ali posited that the time has come for a frank and forward-looking conversation on Cuba.
At 80, the time has come for a frank conversation on Cuba, one that would lead to the prosperity of its people, optimizing the full potential Cuba offers to its people and the rest of the world. Central to this dialogue is the lifting of the embargo on Cuba and its removal from the list as a state sponsor of terrorism.
His call comes on the heels of a growing international consensus and a renewed wave of appeals from global leaders urging the United States to reconsider its long-standing policy toward Cuba. Over the past year, voices from across Latin America, the Caribbean, the European Union, and the United Nations have intensified their criticism of the economic embargo, citing its devastating impact on the Cuban people and its failure to achieve any meaningful political change. Meanwhile, President Ali also called for international support for Haiti.
The international community must act decisively in Haiti, where gang violence, displacement, and shortages of food and medicine have pushed the nation into deepening despair. Restoring security is the foremost priority, requiring strict enforcement of the arms embargo and robust support for a UN-authorized mission. I emphasize that without urgent humanitarian funding and a Haitian-led and owned political process, stability will remain elusive. We must address the root causes of Haiti's continuing troubles, including its historical debt burdens, which stymies its development, prospects, and upliftment of its people.
Haiti is in the midst of an extreme and multidimensional crisis characterized by widespread gang violence that has led to mass displacement, food insecurity, and a collapse of essential services. Armed gangs control significant parts of the capital, creating a dangerous environment where killings, abductions, and sexual violence are rampant. The political situation remains unstable, worsening the ongoing humanitarian catastrophe, with millions in need of aid and an increasing number of children affected by extreme malnutrition, lack of education, and recruitment by gangs. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
A 13-year-old boy of Guyanese parentage who was shot to the head at a Dunkin' Donuts in Queens 3 days ago has succumbed to his injuries while being treated at Cohen's Children's Hospital. According to ABC Eyewitness News, the dead teen, Sanjay Samuel, a high school freshman, was in the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot with his friends on Monday when someone came up on a scooter and shot him. Detectives recovered surveillance video that indicates the shooting was targeted. Surveillance video of the shooting has not been released yet. Police believe the young teen was the intended target. While police have yet to make an arrest, they said they have identified a person of interest that they are searching for. The teen had just started high school and was hoping to try out for the basketball team. The family says they want to donate Samuel's organs. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic at 3 hours 55 on Friday, September 26, 2025, for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed to vehicular traffic at 6 hours 15 on Friday, September 26, 2025, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Over 800 to participate in Amerindian Heritage Games 2025, and CWI congratulates Quinton Sampson as breakout player of CPL 2025. These and more coming up in this evening's Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp.
It's Cricket Carnival time and Mock-Up is knocking prices out of the park. Get the powerful Cat 320 GX for just 30 million, the SEM 655D wheel loader at 17.4 million, or the SEM 636D wheel loader for only 13.8 million. Each machine comes with free fuel warranty registration, 2 years warranty and a customer value agreement for the first 500 hours. Don't wait, register your interest now at mockupcat.com or call us today on 703-8618. Mock-Up, let's build Guyana together.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
For bid, performance, retention, advanced mobilisation or customs bonds, bond with us. Fuel your success. Call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Premier Insurance coverage.
Seeing her succeed makes me proud, and I know I made the right choice by giving her Enfogrowth since she was little. Knowing that 85% of brain growth will occur by age 3, Enfogrowth's blend of ingredients such as DHA helps support your toddler's brain development and contains 22 nutrients to support their diet or nutrition. Enfogrowth, what you do today will last forever. This product is not intended to be a substitute.
Granny! What you doing on the right of way? Like you're saying let the sunshine stretch your legs. Sunshine? Look, forget I ask. You know you're not supposed to be on the right of way, Granny. But I ain't digging, building, burning or planting. No horsing wrong, no horse riding or nothing for doing horses. But sunshine? But you and sunshine get out the right of way. Sunshine will be glad. Good.
Mom, did you tell him that Danny went to pick up KFC?
No, wait a minute. Are we really not going to tell him we already have KFC?
A tasty dinner shouldn't be that complicated. Crunch the routine and order a delicious KFC bucket for the best price. KFC, it's
In today's tough driving conditions, every engine faces 3 powerful enemies: engine heat, pollutants, and frequent short trips. Each factor is a direct cause of engine sludge, a buildup of dirt that can block vital oilways. This triple threat demands triple protection. Castrol GTX's Triple Protect Power is engineered to fight these 3 main causes of engine sludge.
Seeing her succeed makes me proud, and I know I made the right choice by giving her Enfogrowth since she was little. Knowing that 85% of brain growth will occur by age 3, Enfogrowth's blend of ingredients such as DHA helps support your toddler's brain development and contains 22 nutrients to support their diet or nutrition. Enfogrowth, what you do today will last forever. This product is not intended to be a substitute.